Hello everyone. Today I am going to tell you about my adventures in making Nova a snuffle mat. Well, you may ask, what is a snuffle mat? Well, a snuffle mat is what behaviourists and trainers could call an enrichment mechanism or an enrichment tool. And basically what that means is something that makes your dog's life less boring. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to a snuffle mat. Here is one I made earlier. Ta-da! So, it's a whole bunch of strips tied on a thread base, and what you do is you put your treats in there and the dog has to go and hunt for them. So, all you need to make one of these are two things: a base and toppings. So for toppings, you need any kind of fabric, provided it does not fray. You can use, for example, fleece. Fleece does not fray. You can use t-shirting. It's a very good opportunity for you to get rid of all those old t-shirts that have holes in them or paint that you're never going to use again. So whatever you've got, but it mustn't fray. You could probably even use something plasticky like, I don't know, an old shower curtain, something like that. I mean, you can use anything you like, and they don't all have to be the same. I mean, this one is all fleece, but if I didn't have enough fleece, I wouldn't have any problem with putting in bits of t-shirting and bits of anything else. So you can use whatever you like. So choose your topping, just like pizza. Next, you need a base. Now, I chose something that already had holes in it. And I had some of this garden netting mesh stuff lying around, and it already has holes, which is fabulous, which is why I used it. But you can use anything you like, really, if you're up to making stuff. I mean, like a car mat, you could drill holes in it and use that. Be quite heavy. You can use a piece of cloth if you want. You can use an old bath mat if you want to get rid of them. Basically, there's a whole lot of things that you can use to make a snuffle mat. Just bear in mind, you're going to have to wash it. Okay, so it might not be able to go in the washing machine. This certainly cannot go in the washing machine, but it can go in the bath. If you're drilling holes, make sure that you make quite big ones, because you may want to put 4 or 6 or however many pieces of your cloth through the holes to get the texture that you want. Okay, so once you've decided on your base and your toppings, it is time to get cutting. Now, for this one, I cut my fleece into strips this long, this-ish. I don't know how long it is. That long. So you need to cut your material into strips. It doesn't matter if you haven't got the same enough to make up a snuffle mat of the size that you want. I mean, I happen to have enough fleece to do this, but if I didn't, I wouldn't be concerned at all about throwing in some t-shirting or some other non-frayable fabric. I mean, who cares? It's for your dog, right? What are you waiting for? Get cutting. You need a lot more of these than you think you do. I'm awake. Yeah, I'm awake. Okay, so once you've got your base and your toppings, it's time to get going. So what I suggest you do is go and find the 6-hour director's cut of Lord of the Rings, pop that on the TV, and get going. And it's really easy. This is all you have to do. Okay, so all you have to do is take your base, take your strip, and just get knotting. Next. You see why I told you needed the 6 hours director's cut. And so on about 1,000 times. And when you are done, voila! One snuffle mat. Okay, now depending on your base and your toppings, I suggest you experiment a little bit with spacing to see what kind of density that you get. When I first did this, it was so dense you needed a crane to pick it up, and I ran out of stuff really fast. So I started making my spacing. You can kind of like see I started making my spacing a lot wider. So I suggest you just do a small area, like a little corner. I mean, it doesn't look like much when it's like this, but literally that is how this is made, by tying bits of fabric into this. So experiment to get the kind of density that you need. If you're using a thinner kind of fabric or thinner strips, you may want to have them closer together so you can get a good density. Okay, so finally you're done. So now we need to introduce the dog to it. Okay. I suggest what you do is you take quite a large treat to start, just a large one, and show it to the dog, and pop it in the mat, and then ask your dog to come and get it so your dog can see where it is. Wait. See this? Find it. Once your dog's got the hang of it, you can take a whole bunch, I mean a lot, and put them all over the place and let your dog go and find them. And let's see how Nova likes this. Wait. Find them, girl. Okay, that kept you amused for a very, very long time. So these are great fun, dead easy to make. You can use stuff normally that you've got lying around the house. As I said, if you've got dogs who schnoff their food, this is a really great way to feed them dinner. When you're done, when your dog session is done, just take the thing, shake it upside down, and make sure that you get all of the treats out. There are a couple of rules. Never, ever, ever leave your dog unattended with your snuffle mat. You don't want the dog to start eating the fabric, as this Malinois is likely to do. So you never, ever, ever let them have it without you. Rule number 2, wash the bloody thing. Keep it clean. And rule number 3, when you're done with it and washed it, store it where your dog cannot get to it. It's still going to smell a bit like food, and if they can get to it, they may well drag it out, and if they can't find any food in it, they may start to eat the fabric, and you seriously do not want that to happen. When your dog is interacting with their snuffle mat, make sure it can't slip. put it on some kind of non-slip kind of surface. You can see I put Nova's one on a rug because the laminate floors are a bit slippery and we don't want them sliding around, so just make sure that they are nice and stable. Look, the dog will probably put his paws on it, but you really don't want him to be pushing it around. Make sure it's like fairly solid. So there you go, a snuffle mat. So go make one for your dogs. The really nice thing about this is that it engages their nose and their hunting instinct. So this actually brings out quite a lot of the things that they don't normally get to do. And as I said earlier, if you have a dog who is a snarfy eater, like a Labrador, taking their pellets and putting them all over the place will really slow them down. So if you decide to make one, off you go, have fun. It actually doesn't take as long as you think. I think probably total time for me, including doing it wrong and untying it, was probably about 8 hours work all in. So you can probably do it for less. So off you go. Go get snuffle matting.